Monday night on One, and not only Peter Cook but also Dudley Moore join Wogan. Then at 7:30, Watchdog puts the MOT system to the test and discovers if the certificate is worth the paper it's written on. At 8 o'clock, it's the quarterfinals, and Noel's getting tough.
She's very young.
Yes, and stupid.
Then at 8:30, keeping up appearances.
Daisy, how are you, dear? Daddy ill? How ill? Is it of a severity necessary to cancel my candlelight supper?
After the news at 9:30, Panorama reports on the government's new plans to tackle the crisis in the family and make absent fathers pay for their children. Then at 10:10...
Either one of you two hot shots ever been undercover?
It has nothing to do with this.
Well, I have. If something goes wrong, your case agent gets you out. He's your lifeline. I put Danny into this, I'm gonna get him out.
And with rock and roll, education and advice, that's Monday night on One.
Back to tonight, and in 15 minutes, Heart of the Matter talks to East Germans about their anxieties for the future. That follows the news now on One with Michael Burke.
Britain's been left isolated as the rest of Europe sets a timetable for economic unity. Mrs. Thatcher tells the other summit leaders they're in cloud cuckoo land. And Moscow's latest peace initiative in the Gulf ends in failure. Good evening. 11 of the 12 leaders of the European community agreed at their summit in Rome today on a timetable that would lead to a single currency by the year 2000. Only Mrs. Thatcher opposed it, but she was left on the sidelines, protesting that the other leaders were living in cloud cuckoo land. Despite her opposition, the summit agreed to the so-called Stage 2 of the plan for economic and monetary union, the establishment of a European central bank by January 1994.
The European leaders have turned their back on Britain and its arguments. President Mitterrand said, "We cannot slow down to the pace of those who want to stay outside." They gathered this morning, making no attempt to portray unity. Instead, 11 of the 12 pledged themselves to a single common currency, the ECU, and an independent European bank to run it. They prepared a communiqué setting out their common position. Mrs. Thatcher was allowed to summarize her objections, but was otherwise ignored. In 1994, the 11 say they will enter a new stage of monetary union. By 1997, they will review progress and then establish the new currency within a reasonable time. By the year 2000, Europe could well be using the ECU instead of the mark, the franc and the lira. But Mrs. Thatcher will defend the pound.
I would not accept to have the community saying we must abolish the pound sterling. We will not have that imposed upon us. I don't know what a parliament in 40, 50 years' time will say. What I do know now is I'm not prepared to go to parliament and suggest we abolish the pound sterling. And if I were, it would not get through. I think the most obvious practical expression of your sovereignty is your currency. Your currency, your coin and your notes, and your capacity to uphold that currency by your monetary and economic policy. And we're prepared to have a common currency. We're not prepared to have a single currency imposed upon us.
The Italians have